Hello and welcome to Frank's School. Boots and I are ready to teach. You might have heard in yesterday's video, you might have heard a cat meowing. There's a new cat here named Roger. I'll pick him up if he comes around. Alright, and what you're going to see now, I'm going to keep the sound low. Oh, and by the way, there's a bright light shows up on the screen. I think I can, two of them sometimes, I think I can fix that. But remember, I'm filming me watching the movie. Alright, I'm going to keep the sound low. You may actually get the feeling I can't hear it. Well, I'm going to do that because it gets rough. The father, Bernardone, loses his temper, and there's a very rough scene. And I can still remember the effect that had on my students when they were watching this. I thought it was strange because even back then, students were used to real rough video games and violent movies and stuff, but there was something about this roughness when the father shakes up his son. I had to be careful a little bit of the students, you know, it upset them. But anyway, Zeffirelli, I would explain to them, he's hard on his actors, or sometimes, and I compare it to the Romeo and Juliet fight scenes. They're very violent. And a lot of times they're not seconds involved. You're going to hear Provence mentioned. Well, Provence is part of France. St. Francis's mother was French, Provençal. And they fight. There is you could say that he was a mommy's boy. Anyway, that father-son dispute, so different from each other. Well, I compare that. That was an epic theme. Cat, don't... That was an epic theme that I taught about in last year's course. Father versus son. Often very extreme. And in reality, it occurs often. Oedipus, the Oedipus complex, Sigmund Freud identified that. Often very, very difficult relationships between fathers and sons. Ripping of the bread. Now, this is just a small thing, but if you're really watching the movie, right at the point where somebody, if they ripped something out of the father rips a piece of bread in half right at that cut. That's just more evidence of the very clever camera work and directing in this. The contrast between the rich and the poor. When Francis goes to church and he looks back, there at the back of the church are the poor. There at the front are the rich, extremely rich, by their jewelry and costumes and stuff. Organum is a kind of harmony. And you'll hear it. You don't hear that very often. In the music, in church, you'll hear some organum. Well, what that is parallel fifths. It's if you took your hand and just made a fifth and just played it like Mary Had a Little Lamb, and you just kept it 5 notes apart, you would be playing in something called organum. It's one of the predecessors to modern harmony. Parallel fifths by the Baroque period became a no-no. You had to make sure your music never had parallel fifths in it or it didn't sound right. Well, that was the harmony of the Middle Ages, and you'll hear some of that. The use of eyes may be extreme. Just like I said, maybe, in general, maybe Zeffirelli's use of themes is overboard. I don't know. But you'll see it extremely here. And the eyes on the crucifix in the church are closed. But then Francis looks, and they're opened, a miracle, if you will. Well, he has his epiphany. An epiphany is a sudden realization of a truth. And his epiphany occurs here. When he shouts, screams, no! He says no a couple times, but the last time he says no, he says it softly. Because he's not angry. He understands. Then you will hear Francis's complete theme, Brother, Sun, Sister, Moon. You'll hear it the whole way through for the first time in a movie with words. Francis now knows who he is. He's had his epiphany. There's a cat going behind you right now. All right, I'm going to go over, and I would want you, if you're viewing this on your own, I'd want you to stop when clothes starts falling down, cloth falling down through the sky, stop. I want to explain about that tomorrow. So, see you tomorrow, I hope. We're going over there to watch the movie now.